Hey Dive Table community, Jay here, and I'm excited to bring you this little surface interval, a day in the life of some cave divers. Recently, I had the opportunity to spend a couple of weeks in Florida, specifically in Marianna, Florida, which is the northwest portion of Florida. And we were staying with an operation that's called the Overhead Environment. Check them out. They took care of us, filled our tanks, filled our bellies, filled our souls with fire pits for 2 weeks, living on their property. And it was an incredible experience. And this particular operation sits in a place called Merritt's Mill Pond. And Merritt's Mill Pond is unique because there are actually there's more than that, but there are 3 diveable cave systems that exist on the pond. One, it's probably the most well-known, is called JB or Jackson Blue. There's another one called Twin Caves and another one called Hole in the Wall. And we had the opportunity to dive all of them, but I thought it might be interesting for you to hear a little bit of behind the scenes of what happens on a full day of cave diving. And so myself, Ben Boss, the training director of UTD, and Kevin Wood, who is also a UTD instructor and has been a teammate of mine for quite some time, flipped on the microphone and are bringing you along the trip of a big dive that we did at JB. And hopefully it's interesting to you. Hopefully it's something that gives you a little insight and behind the scenes into what it's like to spend a day cave diving. And for those of you that are cave divers, I think this will resonate as a day that you typically understand. For those of you that aren't or that are aspiring to become that, it gives you a little behind the scenes of what we did. The last piece I want to mention is I really enjoyed my time there in Marianna, Florida, as it kind of turned into an impromptu Unified Team Diving Cave Week. There were a couple of students there actually taking their first Cave 1 and Cave 2 course and were successful in completing that. And obviously their instructor was Ben. There were a couple of others, James and Brando, from a podcast you might also listen to called The Great Dive Podcast, who were there with us working on underwater photography. And there was myself and Kevin, who have been teammates for a long time, who were just fun diving for a couple of weeks. And so it was really cool to see 3 different teams, yet all unified in our approach, able to dive together, able to go to the site together, but work on different things. And I really enjoyed our time there. So shout out to Chris and Katie. Congratulations on earning your Cave 1 and Cave 2. Shout out to James and Brando specifically for the amazing shots you took underwater that we've been able to share. And finally, a shout out and heartfelt thanks to Kevin Wood, who has been my teammate amongst thick and thin for lots of different training, but also a lot of different fun dives. We had a blast, and I hope you enjoy this behind the scenes look at a day in the life of a cave diver. Hey everyone, welcome to this little surface interval. It's early in the morning here in Marianna, Florida. Been here for a week and a half now, and last week was an amazing kind of impromptu UTD cave week where a bunch of cave divers and some students that were finishing their Cave 2 course all converged on Marianna, and we went diving, and 3 of us stayed behind to continue diving. And so today we're going to do a little behind the scenes look at a day in the life of a cave dive here in Marianna, Florida, and let you in on our planning, pre-dive, the whole 9 yards. And hopefully it turns out to be a nice listen for you and a nice way to kind of see how we approach our cave dives. So looking forward to this episode, looking forward to today's diving, and most of all, looking forward to being under the water again and having an amazing day. So we've had some coffee. How many cups have you had now, Kevin?
2.
2? He's now alive.
You gotta count your cans of...
Okay, so it's 2 cups of coffee and 1 300 milligram
Oh
yeah, so 18 cups of coffee.
Kevin is awake.
Kevin's awake. And I'm here with Kevin Wood, who's been a teammate of mine for a very long time, and Ben Boss, the training director of UTD, and been on the podcast before. And we are going diving today in Jackson Blue here in Mariana. So we've had some breakfast, some coffee, eggs, and all kinds of tasty things. And we're sitting here finishing up our dive plan for the day. So Ben, what are we going to do today?
We're going to go diving, a cave dive that's called JB, Jackson Blue. And we're going to have 2 stages with us and a little oxygen bottle. So we're going to see if we can get a bit further into the cave. And right now, just doing the planning so we don't encounter any surprises down there.
No, other than cave sharks. Those might surprise us. Everything else should not be surprising.
They are hibernating right now.
They're hibernating. That's where the sharks go to spend the winter, is to the caves, and then they go back to the ocean. That's what I thought.
Exactly.
Yeah, it should be fun. And this is part of the cave. This is farther in this cave than I have been, or you have been, Ben. But Kevin, you've been
just slightly farther.
Slightly farther than what we're planning to do today. But yeah, it's a big dive. I mean, it's a 2-stage doubles on our back, and we're gonna rack up some deco that we'll need to deal with at the very end. So, big dive, take some planning, but it should be an absolutely wonderful day. Any last thoughts, fellas, before we start to work on gear and get stages set up and all the other fun stuff that we need to do?
No, I mean, we looked at what the expected distances and times we need to use to get to certain landmarks in the cave using the map we're now staring at. And that gives us an idea beforehand where we can stage our stages. So have a little look-see where it makes sense, so we don't put a stage cylinder in the middle of a big floaty line and either pull that up to the ceiling or pull it down in the mud. So look for a tie-off point, and we can see that the spots we've been looking at, they make sense from a gas usage and a time usage point of view. Then obviously we looked at how much deco are we expecting to hit at those spots, because we need to think proactively of our deco, because the cylinder we have at 20 feet 6 meters only can give us 30 minutes of deco.
Yep.
So no computer in the world is able to tell you what your deco schedule will be at different depths when you're at depth. It might give you a total time for your total ascent time, and it'll give you a ceiling and a time of the first stop, but that's about it. So how it's distributed is something that, we use ratio deco 3.0 for.
Yeah.
So now already here we can see where in the cave we will have potentially racked up X amount of deco.
Right.
And by doing that, we can then decide here, looking at the map, where we go and how far we can go in, because obviously if we're almost swimming at a 1-to-1 ratio, we know if we can swim 5 more minutes into this cave from this point, means we have 10 more minutes of deco, because we're going to go 5 minutes back as well.
Yeah.
So that's nice. By doing it beforehand, we can have a little idea. And underwater, when we look at each other and make decisions, we kind of know what we're thinking, because we've saw, okay, this is a drop-off point and this is a T as a drop-off point. Then we can do a recalculation and a re-summarize. Does our pre-made plan we're talking about now, does it actually pan out? Are we within that ballpark? And we usually are, but it's nice.
Yeah.
You never know. Do you have to wait for teams coming out of restrictions? You know, is there a hiccup with the tie-in? You gotta wait for someone with doing training dives like we were doing last week with the students that were here. You never know what happens, and it might cost you a couple of minutes.
Is there a big old ROV or whatever that thing was? Is sunfish in the cave?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The line is everywhere, all around.
Yeah.
The scientific project they were doing all last.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the beauty of it is, the T-shirt always says, plan your dive and dive your plan.
Yeah.
And it's true. We're planning our dive and we're going to dive that, but we're going to take into account the things that we don't know now in our plan, like how strong is the flow? Are there other people in the cave?
Exactly.
Maybe we
tanks
can
have cooled off more than we thought.
Tanks cooled off more than we thought, which means we have less gas than we planned for. Once we're in the water. So I think it's a really good example of that. Thinking portion of it. It's not just right now. It's also as we go and reassess, like you say, underwater, and make calls based on decisions as a team, based on what we are having in the actual dive. I think that's key too. It's not just, hey, Ben is obviously the most experienced diver amongst us, but it's not Ben making the decision. It's the whole team making the decision. Ben may suggest something, and we may confirm or deny that, but I think that's an important piece of this team diving piece.
Oh, 100%. At that point, it's nullified, because regardless of the experience, you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think about the pre-made plan, and I adjust the plan according to on-the-fly battlefield calculations, and I confirm, hey, I think we can actually swim a little bit more in this direction after we come back to our start point. And then you say, yeah, I can confirm. Or, no, you can't, because you're the one tying in, and you used a bit more gas or whatever. You were in front and kicking a bit more in the flow, and we were in your slipstream. Yeah. This is what works.
Yeah, so today's plan, get in, and we're going to try to get all the way past what's called the first tee in the line into that big room. Do they call that room the quartz squeeze, or is that just that section?
I think it's just that section.
Just
It's a loop that starts at the first tee and then branches left and right and connects back at the second tee.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So
Perfect. Yeah, so we'll catch up with you guys when we're putting gear together and getting gas and all the other fun stuff that we got to do before we go and actually end up at the dive site.
Definitely.
All right, so we're getting things rigged up and tested before we go get some fills here. We've got 2 stage bottles each and a deco bottle of 40. And we're finishing up here in the shop. We had to rig a few things, right, Ben?
And we had to build everything but the cylinder and the valve.
But we did it out of what we could find laying around and made it work. So we're getting close to ready to actually load the truck up and get out of here and go diving. So looking forward to that. But yeah, a little bit of work in the workshop beforehand. Basically everything you can do with bungee, scissors, string, and a lighter.
Yeah.
You can make it work.
MacGyvering things together.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll check in right before we're loading up the truck and getting things kind of set up and ready to go to actually go diving. All right. So we just checked in, which is part of the deal here. You have to check in and let people know you're going into this particular park and going cave diving, and then you also have to check out, which is unique, I think, to this particular cave. And we just pulled into the park, and we've got our tickets. Yeah, we got tickets right here, and we're about to unload all of our gear and get set up and go diving.
Yeah.
How you guys feeling?
Hot.
Hot. It is hot.
It's hot and humid today, but ready for a nice dive.
It'll be nice and cool in the water.
Which parking spot do you want me to take?
Yeah, we've got almost. There's one other set of divers here at the park today, so it's gonna be a good dive. It'll be a good time. All right, we'll check back in once we're gear unloaded and all that. All these stages unloaded.
Is that mine or yours?
You built them just like me. Where's my other one? Oh yeah, it's in the back. So we're unloading the truck as we speak and getting walking stages back down to the water's edge so we don't have to carry them with our twin sets on. And it's hot and there's bugs everywhere, but that's cave diving, so all worth it, 100%. It's a pretty hot day here in Florida, so we've got our suits on, everything unloaded, stages in the water, and we're heading down to the water to just cool off for a minute before we go through checks and all that. This is nice.
Feels wonderful.
Feels nice, huh?
Nice 68-degree spring.
Oh, yes.
Year round.
Get a chance to just cool off in the hot sun for a minute. Get out of the bugs.
I see you making bubbles.
A nice little hack to keep yourself and your brain in the game on a hot day is to cool off once you've got your suit on and before you go through all the lugging of the gear to the water. All right, so we're geared up, about ready to go in the water. Just gonna do a quick gear match as a team, and then we'll be heading down to the water.
If we ever get in the water. Kevin is taking forever, man. Forever.
Sorry, Kevin had to go back and get Jay's reel.
Man.
Well, that's not what slowed you down.
What?
That's not what slowed you down. We got back up here at the same time from the water.
Oh, jeez, come on. We gotta go diving. Hurry up.
Producer Dan's gonna have to edit this
You know
half
what?
an hour of silence out of the.
You know what? I'm gonna go in. I'll see you down in the cave.
All right, so we're all geared up and ready to go. We got things all on, and we're gonna do a quick gear match, team gear match, and check, and then we're gonna head down to the water and go cave diving.
All right. We have a hood
Check.
and a
Check.
mask.
Check.
Check.
Right, cool. Right post, is it on?
Check.
Check.
Manifold is open.
Check.
Check.
And left post is on.
Check.
Check.
All right, primary regulator. Nitrox 32.
Check.
Secondary Nitrox 32.
Check.
Inflator. Wing is working. Dry tube.
Check.
Mouth open.
Check.
Primary reel. Check. Backup light.
Check.
Backup right on the right.
Check.
Working. Primary light.
Check.
Okay.
Check.
Further down, we have a cutting device on the harness.
Check.
Check.
SPG. Full with gas. 260.
3700.
37.
27. Great. Bottom timer, right.
Check.
Compass, left.
Check.
Okay, in my right pocket, I have my wet notes. I have 10 rems on a pigtail. I have my spool for making jumps. And on the top pocket, I have an extra double ender. On the left side, I have my backup mask. I have a safety spool. I have my pigtail we can use for some video shenanigans after.
Check.
Check.
On my right pocket, my pigtail with 8 rems is in my zipper pocket. And on my left, I have a backup cutting device in my zipper pocket as well. Everything else I matched. So.
Yep. Left pocket or right pocket, I got jump spool, wet notes, and 10 rems. In the left pocket, I got backup mask, safety spool, and in the zipper pocket is the leash.
Perfect. Do you have fins?
Definitely check.
Nice. Let's go.
came up from a long dive,
Yeah.
a very long dive. I think we're all a bit tired, but it was awesome. It was a good dive.
90 minutes or what? 97 minutes or something like that. Plus shooting a little bit of video for materials afterwards. Plus doing a little bit of drills
And training. Yeah.
and for training.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours in water time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's good though.
That's nice.
Yeah, we made it all the way past the first tee, almost to the second tee, and saw part of the cave. Ben, I think you and I have never seen. Kevin,
No,
you've seen
you know,
a little
I've
bit
been
of it.
here only with students, so then you're limited a little bit to their penetration limits, and now we brought tons more gas,
Yeah.
so we could go, which was actually nice because the flow was quite strong
Oh my gosh, yeah.
getting
It was-
in there.
It was moving. It was
Yeah.
work to get in.
Definitely got to work out.
Yeah, we get to enjoy a good dinner tonight after that workout. My
That's gonna be
goodness.
good.
But I love the view there at the tee where you see these columns, and it's a huge, it's a really, really wide room in reality,
Yeah,
with all these columns everywhere.
yeah.
It's just imagine how long that must have taken to develop.
Yeah, and they're different columns than like in Mexico where it's, you know, a stalagmite and a stalactite met.
No, this is carved out.
Yeah, carved
this is
out
carved
of
out of
straight
the
rock. Yeah,
Which is amazing. I saw tons of fossilized sea urchins laying around,
yeah,
and these spikes, the sea urchin spikes that are all fossilized, that are
Yeah.
everywhere.
yeah.
Amazing to see.
Yeah, my favorite part of that dive was I finally got to go. I saw it on a setup dive or on an earlier dive, progressive penetration dive that we did. The little bookshelf, and it looked like a caveman's bookshelf to me, like, you know, or
Yeah.
something like, or a pirate's lair at some point when that
Yeah.
cave was empty, because it's just perfectly looks like it's cut out of the rock, where you would have books. And I imagine like a skull and a candle burning, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, so I got a chance to go see that up close. I saw it from far away on a different dive. So I went and hugged it and saw it really, really close just to see what it was all about. That was a cool thing in that part of the cave.
Yeah.
How about you, Kev? What was your highlight?
Kind of echoing what Ben said. Once we hit that first tee and made the right, it just opens up, because prior to that, it's just kind of one big tunnel that
Yeah,
flattens
flat,
it out.
wide tunnel,
You
yeah.
look, you can look left or right, and you can see the walls, and they don't really go anywhere. But once you get around that first tee, you shine your light, and it's like a passageway over here, or, you know, a little circle over there. There's tons of stuff that you could just tie into the main line with a little jump reel
Yeah.
and start exploring.
Start
Go
exploring,
left
oh,
and
yeah.
right, and have tons of these little nooks and crannies all over the place that have been taking millions of years to carve into, and you're a handful of people who get to go see what's around that corner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's amazing.
that was a good dive. So,
The scooter is definitely on
oh
its
my
place
gosh,
here.
yes,
Just to put it in low speed and just enjoy
yeah.
the scenery without kicking like a horse.
What did you say? It was something like, well, you're in bar, like 50 bar to get
Yeah.
one section, 15 on the way back.
So
in the
that's
exact same section.
750 psi
Okay,
to get to where we, after we dropped the second stage,
yeah,
I used 750 psi, which was my usable.
yeah,
And then coming back, I used, I think, 20 bar, which is 300 psi.
yeah, just because of the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So less than half on the way out, but I wasn't kicking on the way out.
No.
I was like flowing fast.
yeah,
Like I was drifting faster than I normally would swim.
yeah. We got our drift diving certifications today. All right, we're leaving the park now, and it's unique to this park that we actually get locked into the park. So we have to enter a code, unlock the gate, do the whole thing, drive the truck through, relock the gate, the whole 9 yards. It's quite interesting process that you have to do. So we're finally kind of wrapping things up here, opening, closing the gate, letting the truck go through it. And we had to call the sheriff's department just to let them know that we are out of the cave. So again, really cool, amazing cave, but a unique system, and all of them are different in terms of, oh, there you go, in terms of how access is managed and controlled and all of that. All right, I'm gonna head home now, and we're gonna get some dinner. All right, we flew through dinner.
I flew through dinner.
You ordered 2 plates of food.
No, I didn't. I said I want a small assortment of whatever they can offer.
And they delivered 2 full
two
plates.
huge plates.
So we forgot to record at dinner because we were making fun of Ben and how much he had. But a dive like that will definitely get your appetite going.
Oh yeah.
So now we're sitting out
It's time
by
for
the
dessert
fire pit.
now.
It's time for dessert. And what are you having there, Ben?
Well, I was teaching a cave class last week, to 2 absolute rock stars, and one of them, or both of them actually, introduced me to this delicious little dessert called a root beer float.
Yes, you've never had one before last week.
No, exactly, and it's my favorite thing to mix in a cup, by far. So
Ben has a root beer float, and we're joined on the fire by some of the community here at where we've been staying, called the Overhead Environment, for the last almost 2 weeks now. So do you guys want to say hi or skip you?
hello everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So yeah, we're hanging around the fire pit, having some dessert. My body is sore. I don't know about yours.
No, I'm good.
You're good. And you'll notice one voice is missing. That's Kevin, because Kevin's passed out already in his room. Done.
Is he done?
Yeah, he's done for
He
the
checked
day.
out?
Oh, he's done. Yeah, so it was a big dive. A lot of physical exertion, a lot of bottle carrying, all that. But yeah, we're wrapping up the night, and that's kind of the day. You start the morning, gear, planning over breakfast, the whole 9 yards, all the way to now, where we're enjoying. Well, Ben's enjoying a root beer float.
What are you having?
And the company, I have a little bit of ice cream.
There we go.
A
All he
little
needs
bit
is
of-
root beer.
Yeah, with good friends. So that's kind of a day in the life of a cave diving team. And did you have fun today?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have to publicly say that?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, okay. Yes, I had fun.
And I had a blast as well. Saw some really cool parts of that cave today.
Yeah, it was nice to come into that cave you've been really intimate with on courses in the very early parts of the cave, the beginning parts of the cave, and now to finally go a bit further, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll wrap the night up around the campfire, and then head to bed and do it again tomorrow,
Rips.
and the next day, and the next day after that. Hope you enjoyed a little look into the day in the life of a cave diver, and thanks for joining us on the dive table. Well, there you have it. A day in the life of a cave diver, or a cave diving team. And I'll tell you, it was a long day, an incredible day, and it turned out to be an incredible dive that went exactly to plan as we had planned it. And just for some context in that dive, we wanted to see some portions of the cave that we hadn't seen. And so we did a much bigger dive. We took 2 stages with us, as well as our back gas, as well as a deco cylinder of O2 at the very end, so that we could really push and see a portion of the cave that we hadn't yet seen. And so I hope you enjoyed kind of the behind the scenes look at our day. And as always, please join us on Facebook or wherever it might be that you connect. Send us an email, jay@thedivetable.com. We'd love to hear from you, love to hear your experiences, whether or not this resonated with you or didn't, or you thought we're crazy or whatever it might be, but I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Dive Table.